Hello there, creatives and designers, UI, UX, whatever you do. Welcome to Photoshop Basics. Photoshop Basics is for general designers. Once you call yourself, I'm a graphic designer, I'm a UI, UX designer, product designer, whatever designer you are, you definitely, even web designer most times, okay? You definitely want to know the basics of Photoshop, alright? So welcome to this tutorial again, and it's me, Osmond. Make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel. I like to give creative content, and I like when the demand is there for it. Okay, it spurs me one way or the other to just create it. Alright, last week we treated layer styles, and I think we had a part 1 and part 2 of it, and this week we're going to be treating transform modes. Okay, we've been using transform in previous tutorials. We've been using it just Ctrl T as a default shortcut, okay, and you are already in transform mode. However, you can also know that there are more functions in transform mode than there is just moving about, because all we're doing is just moving it from one position to the other. But today we're going to be treating on how we are going to use other functions in the transform mode. And take note, when I say transform mode, is a mode we enter. We just want to press Ctrl T, we are in that mode. So whatever function we perform there, it's in that mode until we are out of the mode. Okay, you get to see new functions different from when you are not in that mode. For instance, let's go into it now. Dive in, enough talking. This is the text transform. So I press Ctrl T and we're in the transform mode. Well, I want you to take note of something. Let me leave the transform mode. I want you to take note of the top here first. The top here, these are the things I want you to take note of. This is selected and we have our move to selected, and you can just see clearly now that these are the things that are visible. Okay, but when we enter the transform mode, it changes. I just pressed Ctrl T and we're in the transform mode and it changes. What you have here now is different from what you have when you are out of the transform mode. Okay, I go back to the transform mode now. What you have here is first X and Y axis, which shows you the position of this object in the entire artboard. Okay, that's what the X and Y. Then you have the W and H, which means the width and height in terms of size. You have this always clicked, so please don't tamper with this, because this is very, very necessary for you not to tamper with. Or if it is not clicked like this, make sure to click it. Okay, so it shows you in percentage anyway, but okay, much of this will be talked about later. Then you have the angle. The angle is from 0 to 360 degree. We can rotate this. Then we have the I really don't know, I've never attempted to use this function. Nothing bad in trying. Let's put 50. Okay, 5 there. Okay, alright, one of all those transforms. Okay, I was actually going to come to this, but I never knew that the functions are also here too. Okay, I'm going to do that. Alright, so we'll come to that later, because there's a way we do this kind of transform. Let me go back to the transform now. We have this H and V. Alright, we'll talk about it later. Then I think these are the most important things. Then this function, this is going to be a separate class on its own, so I will not even attempt this, because that's the weapon, because it's called weapon. Okay, so then you exit transform mode, which is cancel transform. If you've made any transform, you just cancel it, and if you want to commit the changes that you have made in the transform, you just commit it. Alright, so that's just it for the difference in the property bar. Okay, now when we leave transform mode, you don't get to see all those functions. So what it tells you is that you are either in transform mode or not in transform mode. Now the next thing I need to take note of is when you right click, okay, outside the transform mode, you are not in transform mode, all you get is, maybe if you right click on the object and maybe anywhere around, but maybe like on this object now, what you see here is the layers. The layers, like these layers now, are exactly the layers we find here on this particular place, this particular artboard. There are two artboards here, so let me close it. One is TM Smart Object, I'm coming to that. And that's transform mode smart object, and this is transform mode just ordinarily. Alright, so if you right click on this, you will see that you have the transform. Maybe you want to select the transform now, you can just select it and it's selected, which is this one. Okay, if you want to select any other thing, maybe the background, you can just select it and it opens. That's why it's selected right now, even though it's locked, but it's selected. Okay, alright, so that's what the right clicking here does. But what if you are in transform mode? It's not the same. First of all, let me select the transform, then press Ctrl T. Okay, by the time I right click now, you find a whole new function. That's to tell you that you are in transform mode right now. So whatever function you perform here is going to take effect on the transform, and it's way different. So here we have the warp thing, we have the scale, we have the rotate, free transform, skew, rotate 180, rotate 90, rotate 90 counterclockwise. The first is clockwise, then flip horizontal and flip vertical. You would definitely want to know about all this, and that's what this particular class is meant for. You want to know first, okay, the free transform is actually a way of allowing you to alter the size of it. It's just the default that is there by default. Every time you want to, even if you not select itself by default, that's what is already selected. While the next one is scale, which is also the same thing as just allowing you to increase the size from any part at all. Just increase the size and maybe decrease it. Let me decrease it. Okay, somewhere around there, a little bit. Okay, the next one is rotate. Rotate changes it, for you to rotate. I don't know why my mouse is misbehaving. Come on. Okay, my hand was touching somewhere. Okay, so rotate allows you to rotate it any angle you want. However, you can also rotate using the 180-degree rotation. Okay, and maybe clockwise, you see, and maybe counterclockwise. It goes back to how it was before. So you can use this one. It's also the same thing as this, but this functions in degrees, 180 degree like this. Okay, you can also come here, you can also come here and type in your inputs as you want it. You can type in maybe 15 there, and it gives me a 15 angle. Okay, hello. Alright, so you see we've transformed it now 15 degree, and that's it. So the next one there is a skew. Okay, skew talks about maybe like you want to reshape it in such a way that it's looking like it's getting slanted. Depending on the size you pull it from anyway. Okay, because you can pull it from this side. You can see altering the shape. I'm pulling it this side and I'm altering it to look like this. So that's skew for you. Okay, let me change it to rotate so I can rotate it out of that position. Okay, so you must have seen some designs like this. Okay, if you really have plans to make such design, then your best bet skew. Alright, we have other ones like distort and perspective, but they are not active on text, and that's why I created the next artboard. Okay, so let me commit these changes. It's fine anyway. Alright, so we'll come here. This is the same as what we have there, only that is a smart object. Okay, some of the functions of the transform don't work on text. So, but when you transform them, I mean, when you convert them to smart objects, they get to be active. Like, the only things that were active there was scale, rotate, skew, perspective, and skew. We didn't have perspective, nor do we have distort. So here we have perspective, okay? And we have rotate, 180 degree, rotate again. We have warp and all that, okay? Somehow these things get rearranged because of smart objects. So let's say, for instance, the next one is perspective now. Okay, perspective is, in fact, you may not know the difference between perspective and skew. But perspective kind of want to take a shape of a perspective. I feel that's the best way I can explain it. Like, if you bring your mouse icon to any sides of this, especially, maybe let's try here first, you get to see it behaving like that of a skew. Or maybe here, let's undo. Somehow it gets to behave like that of skew. Yeah, but there's just one thing about it. It's maybe when we are doing something like mockup, we will get to use it. This is something, one feature that you can get to do. You must have seen designs like this just by pulling it at the top edge there. Then maybe if we transform it a bit, to kind of stay on top, yeah, thereabouts. So you see, this is one thing you can do with it. This perspective, what perspective is doing. Then the other one, okay, we've committed changes, Control T now. The other one there is distort. Distort allows you to pull one edge away. Like, I can pull this edge now, and you can see what is happening already. I can pull it. It's just one edge and it's obeying me. Okay. So this is the kind of fixing it in the way you want. Okay. Most of all these 3D designs that you see, they are just handled by this transform mode. That's why if you're learning the transform mode, it's like a basics of knowing how to create your own mockup. That's one thing about transform mode. It's just a great advantage. All right. So let's say Control T again, and the next one there is warp, which I said is a separate topic on its own. But I mean, warp is the craziest of all. Okay. With warp you can do a lot, but I can't teach that in this class now. I have to make it the next tutorial also, so you can see what I can do with warp already. With warp you can do a lot. Now it's looking symmetrical. All right, yeah, so stuff like this is what warp can help you do. Let's get that guy out of the way. Yeah, okay, somehow you just get to see what we have done with it. So warp also works in the in the transform mode, where in the text where it isn't converted to smart object. That's actually this function here. Once you select this function, you have warp, but it's a separate topic, so we're not talking about that now. Or if you Control T and right click and say warp, you definitely want to. The function is different anyway when it's in text mode, but we'll make it a topic in the next class. But so far so good. This is just an introductory class to transform mode. And so the last thing I want to do is the flip horizontals. Okay, so let's say we have this transform selected, Control T, and right click, you see flip horizontal. This is just like mirror. Okay, if you use mirror in any of the application programs, or if you have used it before in Photoshop, so it just flips it. The T is at the other side and the M is on the other side. Okay, and you can flip vertical to where it's turned upside down. Okay, you will find this very useful when you are doing some designs, trust me. Alright, so that's just it for the transform mode. Okay, let me see. Yeah, that flip horizontal, it shows here, and somehow it doesn't get to show when it is a smart object. That's why it's good that you know how to do it the other way. Like this flip horizontal now. Okay, if you have selected a text, this is a text, you will find it here. This is exactly the same thing. Okay, it's exactly the same thing. But when you come here, the function doesn't show on the property. I wouldn't know why Photoshop had to do it that way, but to also know that there is another method to do it using the transform mode is fine. Okay, now I've turned this upside down. The M is looking like W now, which is also very achievable when I select this and the function shows here and I click here and you see that. So that's for you to know. That's the more reason why I created these two artworks, because of this class. One is a smart object, the other one isn't a smart object. So you get to know what you can do in transform modes when the object is not a smart object and when the object is a smart object. So I hope you enjoyed this class, and of course if you did, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon so that you can know when next I post tutorials. I post tutorials Tuesdays, Thursdays, and maybe if you see anything posted on Saturday, it may not be a tutorial, it could be videos on other classes. Okay, if you're just following the Photoshop basics classes, definitely you get your tutorials Tuesdays and Thursdays, but for Saturdays there are other things I post the videos. It could be tips and tricks for anything at all. You can also follow us so that you can also learn a lot when you follow us. And don't forget, we have our church flyer bootcamp coming up. Okay, if you have not registered, please go and register. The bootcamp is going to be a massive one. We want to make sure that we teach how you can do a very decorative church flyer that will only on its own bring members, like it advertises itself, it sells itself. Okay, so make sure to follow this masterclass. Is July 21st to 25th. Myself and my partner will be partaking in making this a very good program. So please subscribe to our channel, and you can register on the website. The link will be posted in the description anyway. Linktree/ZMDAA. Okay, thank you very much, and until next class, I'll see you. Keep creating.